Hey guys, Doug Wegner here, checking in from the Bay of Green Bay. We're actually on the water. I'm doing this video talking a little bit about the Humminbird 360. It's obviously Thorne Brothers spring sale. They're doing extended sale this last weekend and now coming into this weekend. And Kurt asked me to kind of talk a little bit about the Humminbird Mega 360. And this is something I put on my boat this year, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how it's helped me, I think, catch a few more walleyes and how I'm utilizing it out here. And the first thing I want to mention is that the biggest thing I think with 360 is that it actually allows you to have hands-free operation, and you can see completely 360 degrees around your boat. So that's super cool. You don't just have a small, narrow, maybe 100 or 120 degree angle. You can actually see everything around the boat that's going on, and you don't have to touch anything. Just check on your screens. The transducer is always rotating. So that's something really nice. You can see it's really taught me a lot about how fast these fish swim sometimes, and you can tell which way the school is moving, if it's going from left to right, or even, like I say, how fast they're swimming. So it's not only been super good on the flat days when the fish are kind of spooky and you don't want to be driving around too much, because that's when you get your really nice images, when it's calm out, but also when it's windy, you can see kind of where you're drifting compared to which way the fish are going. And I've got some screenshots I'm going to show you guys as well on the graph here, but it's definitely helped put a handful of fish, or extra fish I should say, in the boat every day. And a lot of it is just honestly pinpoint casting. I can tell my customers, say, hey, 12 o'clock, 30 feet, there's a pot of 4 or 5 fish, or 3 o'clock, 60 feet, and whatnot. I will say it does work really well in shallow water. I would say anything less than 20 feet is perfect or ideal for the 360, and especially on these really flat bottoms. On Green Bay here, we have a ton of sand. We've got a few transition areas, but if you're fishing lakes like maybe Leech or Mille Lacs or Winnebago, I definitely think this technology could come into play or help you guys catch more fish. Like I said, I'm going to show you guys some screenshots. But it really helped me learn this year how much these fish are moving, which direction they're going, so I can kind of try and stay ahead of the school or keep up with the school, which way they're going. A lot of times we're doing controlled drifts out here. Now that I'm able to see which way these fish are moving, I'm actually fighting the wind and following the fish versus just letting the wind dictate where I go. Okay, so this screen is showing me where I need to be and what I need to do. So I've got 2 screens back here in the back of my boat set up. I've always got one on side imaging, and I've always got one on 360. And it's also been really interesting to me to see how many more fish the 360 will pick up versus your side imaging. And the biggest reason for that is when your transducer is rotating and you're getting that 360 view, the sonar is actually hitting more of the fish. And even when that fish is pointed straight at you, it can be sometimes really hard to see on your side imaging because all you're going to mark is that fish's face, and you're not going to get much of a shadow. Versus with your side imaging, when that fish is parallel to you, you get a really good return, and then you get that really nice shadow. But with the 360, it doesn't matter which way the fish is angled to the transducer. It picks it up really nice because it does have the rotation, and it's not just shooting a straight line off the side of your boat. So that too, I think, has come into play. I'm marking more fish. There's actually more fish in my area, and if I'm catching them and all of a sudden they're not biting as well, it gives me more confidence to just stay there because I can actually still see them on my 360 where I might not be able to see them on my side imaging. Maybe I need to make a color change, a bait change, a presentation change. Who knows? But that stuff has been really, really cool to see, and I'm still learning with it for sure. I mean, I've had it here for the last, month, and I'm definitely learning more and more with it every day. I think it's going to come into play, especially with bass. I mean, in the bass fishing world, this has kind of been the deal the last few years, and I do think it's going to play somewhat of a game or part in my musky fishing as well. So I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to steal the phone from Matt. I'm going to show you guys some kind of my setup here. All right, I got 2 Solix 15 units. You can see I've got side imaging set up here, and I've got my 360 here. Now, if you look at this, we're in some super shallow water. We're in like 3 feet. We're actually just right outside this break wall, okay? And if you look at this here, you can see this rock edge right here, okay? That's what we're seeing on a 360. You can also see it on side right here, okay? So this transducer itself is off the bow of my boat up there. It's spinning around versus my side imaging transducer that's here is shooting straight out into that rock wall. So one thing I like to do with the 360 is zoom it in. I'm just going to hit zoom here, and you lose a little bit on the top and the bottom, but it really makes more use of your full screen versus in a standard setting it's this far and you've got all this wasted space on your sides. So like I said, I do like to zoom it in, bring it in a little bit. Obviously you've got all your settings here for your contrast, your range. The shallower you are, the the shorter distance you have, the deeper you are, the deeper you can run this. Like I say, right now I'm in like 3 feet of water, and I can still see pretty good, probably out to about 40 feet. I mean, even on these rocks, I'm getting a return out to 60 or 70. I think I'm set at 70. 71 feet is where my setting is right now. So you can see this really nice return. You can see all the contour in the rocks. You can change your scroll speed, or you know how fast this is spinning, if you want it faster, slower. But this is kind of my setup. All right, so I want to show you guys some screenshots. If I go to my home button here, I'll go to images. So here's a few of the screenshots I have so far this season. We'll just start with this one. So here you can see a pot of fish. We're probably spot locked at this time. It's just we're sitting right at 0.1 miles an hour. You can see this school of fish here up to about our 10, 11 o'clock. You can also tell it lays out your rings too as far as how far your distance out is. So this is 29 feet. So I would probably tell my customers to cast about 35 feet, maybe even 40, your 10 o'clock, and you can start to pluck fish out of that school. Now if we look at another one, this is a really big school of fish. So these fish here, you can actually kind of tell which way these fish are moving. Not only just by, you know, seeing them as your, you know, screen refreshes, you can also kind of tell this is the head of these fish, that's probably the tail. This school is moving from left to right. So you're gonna want to start making your cast further and further to the right. And it's really shown me how fast these fish move, because once this makes a full rotation and it clears up, you'll see how far they've moved in just this 4 seconds that it takes for this screen to refresh. Now this is actually here from today, and we got a little school of fish here just off to our, say, 10 o'clock, and we actually got a couple fish out of that school there. So kind of the setup, that's what it looks like. This is what I see here in the back of the boat. So, and actually I'm gonna get my phone back to Matt. All right, we have, I decided to keep one just to show you guys, but these are kind of the size of the fish that you guys are seeing in those images, anything from these 24 to 28 inchers, but just nice fish. These ones are beat up from spawning. But a little, I guess one last thing I should touch on, I made a switch in rods this year. Now, we obviously everybody knows that in Green Bay we throw a lot of ripping wraps, and I personally like a little bit longer rod. It might be just for musky fishing, but I think I can get a lot better action out of my bait, especially out on my cast with a longer rod. So I'd Thorn build me some 7/9 medium fast rods, and then the ideal setup out here is braid to fluorocarbon. This is 12-pound braid, 15-pound fluorocarbon, and this is the new Daiwa Kage Mq. Really like this reel. I actually just got a couple of these in the mail the other day. Super smooth, really nice stuff. But I do like the way this rod is set up. I got Torzite guides on here. I got a Win foregrip, Syncork rear grip. It's super light. It's an unpainted blank, so you actually get a little bit smaller tip size guide. This is by far the most sensitive rod that I've ever fished with. Really like them. I got 3 of them this year and have been just incredibly happy with them. These are obviously our Rapala Rippin' Wraps. This is number 7. Today they're liking a little bit larger size. It seemed like that faster fall was kind of getting them charged up this morning. They started a little lazy, and then as the day went on, we got them pretty good on the larger stuff. So if you guys need anything for this upcoming season, Thorn obviously has a great sale going on right now. Check out the website. I'm sure it's linked down below here, and there's deals on just about everything in the store. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully you guys get out on the water soon.